let's just do a little background on Ryan James Girdusky, shall we? Ryan James Girdusky got his start in the early 2010s, writing a couple of articles for Richard Spencer's then website. Richard Spencer, I don't know exactly what happened to the guy since then, but certainly...
He's trying to do a sort of centrist rebrand, but I think very still nationalistic. I blocked him. He tried to follow me on Twitter.
At that time, back then, he was a full-on white supremacist, like loud and proud. And this guy, Girdusky, was writing on that thing. Wrote a couple articles for that website. He then also is now on the board of advisors for something called the American Moment. And this is, look at this, Murderer's Row. There's Girdusky. He's a political consultant and writer. He founded the
1776 Project.
Yes.
Yeah.
And a PAC dedicated to school board elections. You'll recall that's the one where they're trying to get rid of all the critical race studies and that type of thing. Yep. He's a native co-author of the book, They're Not Listening, How the Elites Created National Populist Revolution. Go through. There's a couple other folks. Let's see. Board members emeritus. J.D. Vance and Saga Argenti. Oh, that's funny.
Oh, I wonder what Saga thinks about this guy.
This is right-wing populism for you.
It's crazy.
Meanwhile, this guy's hired on to CNN. I don't know if writing for an avowed white supremacist site should disqualify you for a job on CNN.
Well, I mean, Richard Spencer, of course, says it's a white nationalist, not a white supremacist. He just thinks everyone should have their nationalisms and no one's supreme. So, yeah.
There you go.
Although that makes sense then, that he's a Zionist, this guy. Because
Richard Spencer made that same...
Richard Spencer has said in the past that he loves what Israel is doing because every ethnic group should have its own nation defined by ethnicity. So when we talk about why Zionism is a right-wing ethno-nationalist ideology, you could just see that actual white nationalists see it as a model for what they want to do with white people.
Yep.
So here's this guy on CNN, and there's a debate with Mehdi Hasan is one of the people. There's a couple other folks. I don't know exactly who's there. But, and I've heard jokes like this made before, but it's not really a joke when you're not even, you haven't even gotten the right a group that you're talking about. B, it's just a retort to someone that is Muslim.
Yep.
If you don't want to be called Nazis, stop doing...
You've been called an anti-Semite more than anyone else's table.
Yeah.
And people will sit there and... No, by me. I never called you an anti-Semite. I mean, I'm not sitting here saying...
I'm a supporter of the Palestinians. I'm used to it.
Yeah, I hope your beeper doesn't go off. The thing is that...
Did you just say I should die?
You should not...
No,
Did you just say I should be killed?
No, I did not say that. No, I did not say that.
All right, pause it for a second. Let's just be clear on how this went down. This guy, Girdusky, is saying that, you've been considered an anti-Semite, Mehdi Hasan. And he says, well, I'm a supporter of the Palestinian people. I hope your beeper doesn't go off. Now, just to be clear, what he's referencing is that Israel sent beepers that were distributed in Lebanon, many of which ended up in the hands of Hezbollah, bureaucrats, fighters, some which ended up in the hands of children and just people who are not even associated with Hezbollah. But Hezbollah is a big organization. It's not just fighters. And it blew up. But here's the thing. If you live in Lebanon, more often than not, you are Lebanese.
Mm-hmm.
Not always. You can be a refugee, a Palestinian refugee. If you're in Palestine, you're a Palestinian. Maybe you live in Gaza. Maybe you live in the West Bank. Maybe you are exiled. So not only does this guy accuse Mehdi Hasan of being a member of Hezbollah with his comment. I mean, obviously, it's just a rank insult. in terms of like, or a dig in some way. Like, I hope you get blown up. All he sees is Arab. And Mehdi is neither Palestinian, as far as I know, nor Lebanese. And so it's like almost like a 3-layered like cake of racism.
But he and the comment I just noticed about, well, you're called anti-Semitic all the time, and Mehdi Hasan says, I'm a supporter of the Palestinian people, and he responds with an extremely racist remark about him being Muslim or Arab, where it's like, he was basically trying to defend the freaking Nazi MSG rally by saying, well, hey, you're falsely, I guess is the implication, accused of being anti-Semitic all the time. Aren't you on our side? Aren't you on this far right side where we're actual anti-Semites? We really hate Muslim people. We hate all minority groups. Like, we can find some common ground here. The problem for his argument is that Mehdi Hasan is not anti-Semitic. He's trying to oppose a genocide. And that's when it gets like, I mean, in the same 10 seconds for him to make that flip, I mean, he's a piece of garbage.
Just go back and watch this.
And he's so sensitive because, he wrote for Richard Spencer. I mean, I think the writing's on the wall there.
If you don't want to be called Nazis, stop doing it.
You've been called an anti-Semite more than anyone else's table.
Yeah.
And people would sit there and, no, by me. I never called you an anti-Semite. Okay. I mean, I'm not saying or saying I don't.
I'm a supporter of the Palestinians, so I'm used to it.
Yeah, I hope your beeper doesn't go off. The thing is that
you just say I should die?
You should not.
No,
did you just say I should be killed?
No, I did not say that. No, I did not say that.
Hold on.
Your guest just said I should be killed on live TV.
I said I hope you're.
Let me just stop.
You said you hope my beeper doesn't go off.
Because you said I'm a big supporter of the Palestinians. Hamas.
Guys, let me
Palestinians.
All right, pause it. So not only is this guy racist, but he doesn't know who the beeper attack was lodged against. Mm-hmm. It was not lodged against Hamas. It was lodged against Hezbollah. I mean, so like, even in trying to back off his racist remark, he gets more racist by saying like, whatever. It starts with an H.
They're
it's a different
Arabs.
country, but it's Arabs.
And I love how he tries to play off that when he heard Palestinian, it's like, it sounds so similar to Hamas. Like, how could
you? I thought you said that.
I thought you said Hamas. No, you didn't. No, you didn't, because this is how they all talk in private.
But even
that's how
then,
they all talk
too,
in private.
because it was Hezbollah. But
they all talk about Arab people in private as terrorists all the time.
This is your average Catholic Zionist.
Exactly.
Of the Palestinians.
Hamas.
Guys, let me
Palestinian.
Are you?
Am I what? No, of course I'm not.
I apologize.
Are you
That's so. Sorry, I hate to pause
Ryan.
again, but that he tries to make it that as if Mehdi's on trial in that moment.
Will you
so
condemn Hamas?
Yes, and Abby
What does
Phillip.
that got to do with that?
That's exactly how this has always played out.
And Abby Phillip did a good job. He got kicked off this panel, but like that was the appropriate reply. He thought he would have more allies in that moment, but that was so egregious that he lost the plot.
Guys, let me just stop.
You said you hope my beeper doesn't go off.
Because you said I'm a big supporter of the Palestinians. Hamas.
Guys, let me
Palestinian.
Are you?
Am I what? No, of course I'm not.
I apologize.
Are you a racist, violent person inciting violence against
Ryan.
That's disgusting.
That is completely.
I apologize.
That
Good job,
is
CNN.
completely
I apologize.
Block say the Muslim guy should be blown up.
I apologize.
On TV.
I apologize.
Don't say then I apologize. You literally.
I thought he said Hamas. I apologize.
You didn't think I said Hamas. I said I'm supportive of Palestinian rights.
Yes, I did.
Why? Because when you hear
What's funny
Palestinian,
is Rudy Giuliani said this yesterday,
because-
so you're a great guest to be here to defend Rudy Giuliani.
I wasn't going to entertain nonsense today, and so at this point,
This is what we're in
I
now.
can't
This
do
is America in
Here's what I
2024.
will say.
Forget the
Here's what
racism.
That's right.
It's I should
That's
die.
right.
I didn't say
yeah,
that.
you
You
said
said
that.
What does beeper mean? Don't give me your
I
fake
did not say
ignorance.
you should
Guys,
die.
Why did you say with my beeper
So
go?
what did you mean?
What did you mean by the beeper?
So what did you mean?
What did you mean by the beeper? No, you didn't. You said, I hope your beeper doesn't go off.
Ryan, stop talking.
At least have the guts.
Nice.
Hang on.
So sorry.
I gotta bring it back.
This is why yesterday's rally was disgusting.
Don't call us Nazis,
and
but I'm going to
outrageous.
threaten the brown guy as a
This is
terrorist
why.
and kill him.
Because I didn't ever say Donald Trump was Hitler. But do you know who stood on a stage yesterday and said, I want to come to the Nazi rally? I don't have to make up words and call you something. You're saying it for yourself. And what you just said
Kamala
right
Harris is
here,
a pimp.
apologize, but I will tell you, I don't accept that apology, and you didn't even say it
That's
to
fine.
me.
I didn't say it
that
to
was
you.
disgusting. But I can be offended when you don't even say it to me. I'm not Puerto Rican, but I was offended by what he said yesterday. And I'm offended that the former president and potentially future president would allow it and go for 12 hours and not say, I don't care. Because you know what? When Kamala Harris put out statements about switching up opinions, it wasn't good enough for Republicans.
Why are you looking at me?
Because you said it.
Why don't you take this back a little?
Here we go. Wait, I don't
want to be in this.
So they went to commercial break, and
that was the last we'll ever
kicked
see
Ryan
with
off the panel.
Ryan James Girdusky has hit the trail, as it were.
Yeah. Do we want to play what she said afterwards?
Yeah, let's do. This is how she responds.
We're back here, and before we get started, I want to just address what happened in the last segment. And first, I want to apologize to Mehdi Hasan for what was said at this table. It was completely unacceptable. When we get this discussion started, you'll see that Ryan is not at the table. There is a line that was crossed there, and it's not acceptable to me. It's not acceptable to us at this network. We want discussion. We want people who disagree with each other to talk to each other. But when you cross the line of a complete lack of civility, that is not going to happen here on this show. It's a heated time. We're in the middle of a political season. We are 8 days from a presidential election. But we can have conversations about what is happening in this country without resorting to the lowest of the lowest kind of discourse. Want to address that, and I want to apologize to the viewers at home. Because we want to be able to hear each other, we want to be able to talk to each other, and we plan to do that in this next segment.
And it seems like the offense is not just to Mehdi. The offense is to simply say, when someone says, I support Palestinians, to then equate them with Hamas, and then also to completely, make no distinction between Hamas and Hezbollah, because it's just shows the level of basically otherization that happens. Don't really need to even be specific on this point on this news program about this, because we know what I'm saying. The brown people there.
Yeah, and it's just amazing. First of all, Mehdi Hasan is just amazing at triggering these people. He's a great debater, and he's done it many times. I think he was debating Sarah Palin yesterday, who had a meltdown as well. But, that's a really good example for folks that want to conflate Zionism with Judaism. That freak there is not a Jewish man. Joe Biden, who in the midst of, helping Israel commit the genocide, has said proudly, I'm a Zionist, repeatedly. Basically, the entire Republican Party is filled with Christian Zionists. This is not an ideology that should be conflated with Judaism. In fact, I think that's extremely harmful and leads to anti-Semitism. Zionism is what we just saw there. And it's about believing in settler colonialism at the expense of Palestinians and other people in the region, whether it be Lebanese or Jordanian, because to Zionists, Arab lives don't really matter that much. And so it's not about religion, it's about that ideology, which fits quite nicely with the kind of guy that would write for Richard Spencer.
And Girdusky in his Twitter bio even says, native New Yorker, Roman Catholic. So even what he's signaling to his audience.
And he's tweeted positive things about Netanyahu before. To call him a Zionist is not a stretch, even if that's not something that he puts in the forefront of his ideology.
He's talking
obvious.
like one there, saying the beeper thing.
Okay. Let's move on to this other thing, because somebody brings up a good point on the IM here. Vegan van dude. I mean, how do you debate both sides on if Nazism is bad without having a Nazi voice on your panel? Hey, folks, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and check out our daily show. We do it every day at 12 p.m. Eastern for about 2.5 hours. We even take phone calls. You should check that out.